All right, welcome back to the House of Legends right now. If you watching this via YouTube, you can tell that I'm with a legend. His name is Andrew Pearce. He's a I think it's not even you're not even a coach, you're a coach, mentor, guide. I think you perform the three roles, I will say. I was sharing with you before I pressed record that you changed the direction of my life. With a single call, you allowed me to see things inside me that I was not able to see. You you're the perfect you were the perfect guy that you were able to highlight with a kind but at the same time direct um way where I was able to see, don't feeling ashamed for where I was back then, and I was able to autocorrect things that I'm not going to mention here, but I really love the way that you get to work and that you perform your work. I was sharing that as well with you, Andrew. If you can introduce yourself, let us know who you are and what got you to where you are right now. And we have a specific topic that I think most of the listeners will really appreciate, which actually you are the expert on that.
Cool. Yeah. Thank you. And thanks for having me here. So my name's Andrew Pearce. I've been coaching for almost 10 years now.
Mm.
And the way that I got into it is growing up, I always had an interest in the mind and how it works, why we do what we do as humans, um, socializing as well, and the ability to read social cues or understand someone's personality type and be able to speak to that in a social context. When I was younger, I really wanted to be great at socializing because I wanted everyone to like me. I wanted everyone to think what a great guy. So one of my first personal development books was How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. And so I was already this way inclined of coaching, of curiosity, of the mind, of thinking. I had my philosophies on life, um, even at a younger age. And then I had come back from 12 months of traveling overseas, and I gave myself the year to just live paycheck to paycheck, enjoy myself. I'd moved out of the family home, and I was just living with mates. So I'm like, all right, I'm close to the city. I'm just here to have some fun. Um, and then within a couple of months, I was like, yeah, okay, I'm going to start next year. I'm going to do a Bachelor of Psychological Science
Yeah.
because I'm interested in the mind. I wasn't super clear on the job title, the industry, the position that I wanted to be in, but I knew that the mind was of interest to me, and I'd start a Bachelor of Psychological Science. So I did that, and then within a couple of months, I came across human behavior and life coaching.
Yeah.
I had a moment chatting to a mate where I was just like, I just want to get paid to give people advice. Like that's what I want to do. And things just unfolded, and I was fortunate enough to find coaching at 25 years old. And the moment that I came across a definition of human behavior and life coaching on the university's website, I was like, yeah, that's me 100%.
Okay.
And I called them immediately to transfer into those subjects second and third year. And then not long after that realization of what human behavior and life coaching was, I came across a place called the Coaching Institute, and just bang, bang, bang. Found them on a Monday night, called them on the Tuesday, went in and signed up to their top tier program on the Wednesday. And yeah, it'll be 10 years, August 1st, that I first stepped foot in a coach training room. So
Mm.
that's how I got here. I've been coaching ever since.
I love the fact that you mentioned like when you had the first encounter, it was just like synchronicity and synchronicity, just like the path was unfolding, and you didn't have to have all the steps or all the picture in order for you to act. And I think that is an act of willingness. And you mentioned I love this word willingness because sometimes we don't have even the willingness. We think that we want something, but we're not willing just to step or to explore what are the things inside us. Another thing that I would love to, before we dive into more the specific topic that I will love for you to bring. If you always felt this confident to and to share with people, or to coach people, because one of the things that I was, and I will say, I have to just be raw here. When I was starting here in the self-development industry, uh, programs were working for me. I was really happy and all that. But when I start teaching, or start to charging, getting paid for actually helping people, I got I have to confront all the unresolved things inside me, like my relationship with money, my relationship with charging for my services, putting prices, even to teaching someone, and don't feeling like, oh, I have to have all the results in the world in order to teach someone. So how you close that gap, or uh, you always felt this comfortable and this confident just to just go for the thing?
Um, so I felt, yeah, I had some confidence going in, and for the first 6 months, I just did pro bono coaching.
Mm,
Um, so yeah, I started middle of 2014, and then I was going overseas for 2.5 months at the end of the year. And so I was just like, all right, for this first 6 months, I'm just going to study, and I'm just going to coach. And so I got my hours up. I got, up over 100 hours, did heaps of study, listened to the same audio trainings on patterns and codes time and time again.
yeah.
So I was, there was definitely coaching sessions that I'd go into, and I was nervous. But I think there was an element of nerves and confidence at the same time. Sometimes a deluded confidence that I can do this, that just grew over time. But then as my prices have gone up over the times,
Yeah.
um, yeah, then that, you can be confident charging 150 a session, but then that confidence is just completely gone if you're charging 750 for a session. So there's been that leveling up and that progression over time.
Yeah, I do have a question here that bless you, arise here when it comes to, like you mentioned, interacting with people, charging for the services, having some sessions that would kind of feel sometimes nervous, or you name it. How you turn things around, let's say, and for all the listeners, because like most of my listeners are entrepreneurs, are either coaches, mentors. How do you move from, let's say, you have an experience with a client, and that client, it was something that didn't work out in the way that she wanted, whatever, you have a situation, she removed herself from the picture, and how you don't take that personally, how you, oh how you deal with those moments, because I know there could be such situation, and especially when we start charging high ticket, like when there's people that
Yeah.
start paying us 10K, 5K, whatever the amount, how we can actually separate that, that, hey, I'm not here as a provider, I'm here to teaching you or to provide you the tools, but I'm not responsible for your results, and you, how you lead from that place.
Yeah, yeah. I think like the first question, but then you followed with the second one, was like, how do you not take it personally? I
Yeah.
think in those moments, it's actually valuable to take it personally,
Mm,
not to dwell on it.
yeah.
However, if there are parts of you that are taking it personally, then let them take it personally, and what I mean is like, open your body up to however you feel about the situation, the coaching session, the how events have transpired, and allow the insecure, taking it personally, self-doubting emotions and feelings to release from your body and be let go of. Because there's going to be times where you come across feelings of, even if you've been coaching for years, you're
Yeah.
still going to come across some feelings of like, my coaching sucks, my content's crap, um,
Yeah.
I don't deliver value, I'm not bringing much to the table. Um, that's going to be there, and those parts of you do take things personally. So, there's a balance of insight and perspective that, of course, at times can suppress emotion rather than open the body up to it. It's like someone can use a spiritual teaching to dive deep into themselves. The example that I use is, a spiritual teaching is that all fear is an illusion. So
Yeah.
someone can be like, oh, great, if all fear is an illusion, I don't need to go there and I can spiritually bypass.
Mm,
Or be like, well, if all fear is an illusion, then it's completely safe for me to dive headfirst into my fears and face them fully. So if you have an experience like that, and if you're doubting your coaching, be really honest with yourself about how you feel. Don't try to logic or insight or perspective your way out of or attempt to get around the feeling, because that ultimately never works.
yeah.
Just be honest with yourself. Be like, yeah, that really sucked. It's bringing up feelings of being a bad coach, of not knowing what I'm talking about, of not being
Mm,
good enough for clients. I feel like I let them down, even though I know their results aren't 100% my responsibility. I still feel like it's mine. And this honest admission is what's going to get you the growth and the transformation that you're after.
got it. And right here as well, I think this comes, the question was more directed to how we feel as a coach in a personal level. But one of the things that I remember that you were sharing a couple of months ago in one of your posts, or I think you were also live on your stories on Instagram, that, by the way, your content is just like fucking good. I mean, I'm just like, I just can bench hours. I'm just like, there's people sometimes, and here's the thing, some people that they don't even like it, but I just start watching it. I think I'm one of them, but sometimes it's just
Yeah,
like
yeah.
watching, right? But you were sharing about sometimes when we are about to level up or we are changing something in our business, sometimes we don't even feel that we have a fucking business. And it's like, what are you talking about? You have a like LLC, you have clients, or you've been working with clients before. How in the heck you think, or what part of you is thinking that you don't even have like the business? So you were sharing how you were moving through that, but if you can share here as well, if someone is about to change something in her business, shifting fields, you name it, and that sensation of I don't know what even I don't even have a business, how we can move from that place, because it's not real, but it feels so real.
Yeah. Yeah, great question. And again, it's honesty with self.
Yeah.
Our feelings will show us our beliefs. Our feelings will show us the truth of what we actually think and believe. Um, and the honest admission of how we're feeling allows a space for that feeling to release from the body. And the more that you do that, sometimes with a feeling, you've got to chip away at it a bit. The emotional charge of that feeling, the level of truth that it currently holds for you, will begin to dissolve and diminish.
Mm,
Sometimes you be with a feeling and boom, it's up and out, and you're like, oh, that feels to be completely gone. Other times you're like, okay, I can feel that there's been a release, and I also feel that there's a bit more chipping away to
yeah,
do. And so, yeah, one of the 6 attitudes of success that I talk about is willingness. Another one is honesty. And so
yeah.
if someone is willing to be honest with themselves and admit to themselves how they really feel,
Feel.
which at times does evoke fear of, oh no, this is
It's too
like, I
much.
don't want to admit
Yeah.
this. Yeah, then I'll manifest it. What if it's actually true and I'm stuck in it forever? And when we're really being honest with ourselves, we're going to encounter fears. Um, but that's getting those feelings out of the body and having them no longer feel true for you
Mm,
allows a space for a new feeling to come in, a new belief, a new felt sense of self. Um, and so if someone's like, I just feel like a fraud, I don't feel like a business owner at all, I feel like a girl or a boy trying to sell people stuff, then that's an incredible realization. There's some great feelings and identities to get out of the body so you can upgrade and up level to genuinely, not forcefully, but genuinely feeling like a coach, genuinely feeling like an entrepreneur, genuinely feeling like a business owner.
mm,
You don't You're not going to force your way there. If you force your way there, you've got to force yourself to stay there. And
Yeah.
that's why people might be like, oh, haven't done my meditations for a week, and you've just slipped back. It's because you're just returning to your default. But if you be honest with yourself, you fundamentally change your felt sense. You fundamentally change and raise your baseline, your default level. And you'll find that you don't need this full-time job of doing your gratitudes, doing your affirmations, doing your meditations, and doing your journaling to just stay high vibe.
Right.
The whole time being fearful that you'll slip back.
Mm.
So yeah,
This
again, get honest with yourself about how you truly feel about something.
Mm, I love this reminder, and I think this is really powerful because I think most of the listeners, including also myself, we think that if we are really honest and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna manifest this thing. I don't want even to feel it because I'm gonna attract more things. And actually, you explained it really well. Like, let yourself feel it, let yourself face it, and actually you're going to release it from your body, and it's no longer going to be your residence. You're no longer going to go back because I'm really grateful that you highlight also that we have a residence. We always have a set point. I will say that yes, we can just pretend, or we can just compact it with practices like and I'm not saying that those are not good, because I mean, whatever practice work for us, whatever. But if we're codepending from like the meditation or the gratitude list or you name it, when things occur like that, when we feel in a certain way, we go back to the default setting, and that's what when we feel all the overwhelm and we don't want to do the things, or we bypass. I think bypassing is one of the worst things that we can do. But
Yeah.
when we allow, like you said, actually we're not attracting more, we release them from the system, and we upgrade. I don't know if the word upgrading is the right word, but we elevating our place of residence, and it's no longer who the one that is fearful, the one that feels fake, the ones that is not feeling like a business owner, right?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. It all starts with that honest admission.
Yeah. Um, if we can dive into this, because and this specific topic about the archetypes, because when I hear those, I like I told you before, online we have videos here and there, but the way that you explain them, I think, and I think I'm just gonna put myself here on the spot. Back then, I I identify so much, and this is kind of right now I'm laughing, but back then I was not laughing. I think I was identified as a prostitute. And like, I want to do everything for. I'm gonna give you my soul, or I'm gonna do 20,000 things in order for having the business. And I was just like, what shit? This is a thing that I am doing without even knowing. And this is specifically, it comes back to us as entrepreneurs, coaches. Sometimes we acting from those archetypes, and those are without even understanding that we're doing that, and we're doing ourselves the service and the people that we are meant to serve.
Mm. Yeah, it's I've worked with the prostitute shadow
Oh,
plenty
yeah.
myself. It's always had great upgrades in life and business. So yeah, the archetypes, I found a lot of value in them. I think they're great to work with.
If you can share just a little bit of each one, and people can have better understanding. And after this podcast, we're gonna make sure that I'm gonna redirect the people to your website and your life work, because for me it was mind blowing. Like I said, it was just like, oh damn it, I'm acting from this place. This has nothing to do with 20,000 things that I was thinking that I was were causing my results on my business. And yeah, if you can just dive into each one, and just for the listener to have just a deep small understanding of each one.
For sure. So the four primary shadow archetypes is a body of work from a woman named Carolyn Mace, spelt M-Y-S-S, but pronounced Mace. She has other archetypes that she teaches and speaks to, yet speaks to these archetypes as four primary shadow archetypes that are within the human psyche that have a shadow and a light. And the word archetype is something that's used in a way to represent a set of traits and characteristics. So with the archetypes, you may be journeying with one more deeply than the other at a certain time of your life. You may be journeying with one in one area and another in a different area. So you could be in prostitute in your business, but in lover in your relationship, for example. And you will find that it's like a spiral, that you will revisit the archetypes at greater depths and for different traits and characteristics. You know, the prostitute shadow, for example, speaks with self-value. And I've gone deeper and deeper and deeper into self-value time and time again. That as going deeper in, you know, raises me up. And then as you go and grow through life and you have different desires that send you in different directions, that will end up, you know, drawing up from the unconscious to the conscious different traits and characteristics and aspects of an archetype that you may not have faced within yourself just yet. So know that you don't go back, you just go deeper, you revisit. Yeah, if my prices in my business are going up, if I'm having a desire for more clients, more often than not, I'm revisiting self-value. But then if I have a desire for something different, then it draws up different aspects and traits of the shadow. Yeah. As an overview, there are four shadow archetypes, four primary shadow archetypes, four primary light archetypes. And they also represent four steps or four pillars of conscious creation, of manifestation, of how to actually go about using the law of attraction in a systematic way to consciously, intentionally produce the results that you want. And so pillar one is the prostitute and the lover. Just as a very quick overview, and then I'll go deeper into them. This is desire. This is intention, and having a clean and clear desire that you send that signal and communication out to the universe. So for example, someone might want money, yet feel shameful for the fact that they want money. So their desire is murky and muddled versus I want money and I feel great about that. So a clean and clear desire carries a strong energetic frequency when it comes to manifesting.
Got it.
But if you want money, but you're shameful of it and you don't even feel safe in that desire, then you're not going to feel safe in the creating and the receiving of it. So pillar one is about a clean and clear desire and intention. Pillar two is the child shadow and the sovereign light archetype, which really looks at, okay, what are the specifics of this desire? Let's go from a desire to a dream, from a desire to a goal. Let's get clear on where we're going, what we want it to look like. And then from there, once you know where you want to go and how you want something to look, the pathway to that or the roadmap to that dream becomes far more self-evident. If someone is ever getting stuck in a position of not knowing what their next step is, it's quite likely that they're not clear enough on where they're going. And so if you're unsure of what your next step is, then your next step is to get some clarity and specificity around where you're going. Because like I said, as that happens, the road in front of you becomes more obvious. So that's what pillar number two is about, bringing some specifics and then committing to the dream. So the child shadow is just a dreamer and has no commitment to the dream. But as you step into the archetype of the sovereign, there's commitment, which then comes into pillar three, which is about action. So pillars one and two are purely energetic and emotional. Pillar three, you have the victim archetype and the warrior. This is about turning the energetic concepts of pillars one and two into raw resources, into physical matter, and looks at action. It's about boundaries. It's about belief and identity. So someone in the world who's wanting something really bad, but they're not creating it, is the simple fact, and to just put it objectively, is that their desires and their felt sense of self, their identity, is not in alignment with the desire. So when you have your beliefs and your identity matches the desire, that's when you create it, because your beliefs and your identity is what's always creating your reality anyways. So pillar 3 is about taking the actions, taking the scary actions, taking that one big action, and really having the belief
There's one.
in manifestation, in attraction, really having an identity of being someone in the world who lives a great lifestyle or who has the clients that they want or whatever it might be. So that's pillar 3. And then as you step into pillar 4, it's really about trust and surrender and allowing the process. The shadow archetype is the saboteur, which can get stuck in, what more do I need to do? What am I missing? What other action do I need to take? Which has a communication to the universe. If a question is being asked saying what's missing, it's coming from a place of feeling like something's missing. Therefore, there's a communication to the universe saying something's missing. And so life responds back to that and keeps perpetuating that experience that something's missing. So the light archetype is the magician. And this pillar is really about how long it takes to bring something into reality and collapsing time, trusting those intuitive nudges, taking what on a surface level might seem to be an irresponsible action. So for example, you might be mid-launch for a program and your intuition, your body just says, go offline for 4 days, just get out into nature and do your thing. And the saboteur in your mind is freaked out by that. It seems irresponsible, can't see the steps of how that's going to work out and come to fruition. But the magician knows that what you want to create already exists, the energetic potential of it, and trusts those intuitive nudges and does what might seem silly or irresponsible or crazy in that moment. And doesn't need to see, the magician doesn't need to see how things are going to work out, but the saboteur gets stuck in that place. So of those four pillars, you want a clean and clear desire and intention, which sets the direction. Pillar 2 is you then expand upon the desire and get the specifics of how you want it to look, and it turns into a dream, and then you commit to it. Pillar 3 is taking action, actually taking action on what you want and aligning beliefs and identities to the desire. And then pillar 4 is about trusting those intuitive nudges, trusting the process, still taking action, yet internally you're taking a step back. You're not looking at what else do I need to shift? What more do I need to do? Because that is the saboteur, which is coming from doubt. It is doubting the process, whereas the magician is trusting the process. And so they're the four steps. They're the 8 archetypes, and that's a little overview of the process.
I really love it. It's really refreshing, and the way that you explain it is so clear. Having the clear intention, the goal, what you want, then getting a specific, taking action, and surrendering. I think that is one of the most, in my case, it has been one of the most, I'm not going to put words on my mouth, but challenging, because one part of me wants the control, which is an illusion. I don't have the control. And like you said, there's sometimes where I've been guided just to rest, to don't show up. But in my agenda says that I have to do a live where I have to show up. And right there is when you have to trust yourself. And like you said, and don't need it to know how it's going to work out, but just having that certainty within ourselves.
Yes. Yeah, that's it.
Another thing that I would love to Andrew, this applies for every single thing, for relationships as well. When you're being guided just to, and I'm not gonna go into so much detail here, but when you're being guided to letting go clients, letting go partners, letting go, and you know that are there, you can feel that are meant to be in your world, but at one time it's just like, I'm just gonna let go and surrender. Just like,
Say again, sorry, what was the question?
So this applies also for, let's say, if you are working with a business partner in a external project, or you are with a partner, like, or in a
Okay.
relationship with clients, and at one moment you are guided, you feel this deep sensation of like, I have to let you go. I have no,
Yeah.
even if the client wants to renew, you said, you know what, it's not a good time to renew. And you feel like, shit, I'm missing money, I'm getting whatever, but you feel inside that it's not the right time to continue the relationship, or it's time to move on, no longer being into that business partnership, or even within a sentimental relationship. This applies also for that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
Mm.
you can work with the archetypes in business, in relationships, in health. Um, yeah, they're really applicable to all areas of life.
Mm. Another thing that I would love to if you can go a little bit deeper here, and I know this could be like the whole training, but you mentioned something when it comes to action, when it comes, you mentioned uh, getting or having an alignment or belief system in or self-image, which I think are keys, because if one is in north, the other one is south, it's not gonna work out. There's will always like a push and pull. What it will be the first step? And I think you mentioned as well is recognizing, but the second step, or the extension of the first step, to align both.
Yeah, so the first step
Yeah.
is to get clear on what you actually believe. Again, being really honest with yourself. And so our external world is a reflection of the internal state. So you can look at your results,
Well,
the results that you're wanting that you're not producing. You can look at your reality and you can ask yourself, what must I believe? If
mm,
I'm creating this consistently and I don't want it, and I want this, but I'm not creating it, what must I believe about these topics? What must I believe about these subjects? And super simple process. Again, it's bringing in the honesty that really packs the punch. Is you can ask yourself, in the context of business and
yeah.
clients, you can ask yourself, for example, do I believe in clients showing up?
Mm.
And you might just be like, no, no, I don't. I want it really badly. I love the idea of the law of attraction and manifestation. But in my business, do I believe in clients just showing up? And you're like, no, I don't. I don't believe it's going to happen. I want it to, and I'm
But
posting content and I've got a great offer. But do I believe that they're going to show up? No. And then you ask yourself, what do I believe? And you're like, I believe I've got to go and get them. I believe I have to hustle. I believe they're hard to find. I believe it's hard work.
mm,
And simply by just asking these questions and being honest with yourself, you're taking yourself to where you're at the moment, and not trying to. It's like most people are trying to install new beliefs before they get rid of the current ones.
yeah.
They're trying to install positive beliefs and just force them over the top of negative beliefs. It's like if someone had a couple of eggs that cracked in their fridge and went moldy and stinky. What's the first thing someone would do?
Remove
You
them.
would you would remove them and you
Yeah.
would clear them out from the fridge. Most people are just putting more and more eggs in
Mm,
front of those. Most people are getting in there with some deodorant and they're trying to spray to get rid of the smell. But no, if you came across someone and they were spraying deodorant in their fridge and they
okay.
had cracked, moldy, stinky eggs, and they just kept putting more and more eggs in front and being in denial of the stinky eggs. And then in the morning they spray deodorant, at lunchtime they spray deodorant, at afternoon there's so much work to make sure that that smell doesn't come through. You'd be
Mm,
like, you would look at that and you'd be like, this is absolutely ridiculous. What are you doing? Take the eggs out. Take all of this positive stuff that you've been forcing into the fridge, take it out, put it on the kitchen bench, get in there, take out the stinky eggs, put them in the bin, take it out, put it in the front garbage bin, clean the fridge, take the shelf out, clean the fridge, take the other shelf out, clean it, put it back in, then put all your fresh eggs, your fresh produce, your fresh dairy, then put that back in, and the smell's going to be gone.
There's
So
to those
that's
are yeah. If you can just go a little bit deeper, and I know you're like, this is so valuable. I will say, like, this is so mind blowing when it comes to that, because sometimes we don't even aware that we're doing that we put in more and
yes.
more, and we're still having some residuals, some roots, and those roots are in one way or another it will show up, not maybe in the red hot minute, but it will show up in one way or another. So when we realize that, okay, you know what, I'm gonna be so clear, honest, willing, this is what I do believe about this. I believe maybe that for me money is hard, or I have to overdo, or I have to make sure that everything is on point in order to bring clients into my business. So right there, the second step, it would be like, what do I want? And then looking for evidence, or how you approach that.
Yeah, you would look at, what do I want? And if you're like, yeah, I want to make X amount, I want to sign X amount of clients. And then, yeah, you just go through that process. You're like, do I believe? Like, I had a moment, I think it was like 2019.
Yeah.
I was looking in the mirror, and just what came up was, I was like, do I believe I can be successful? And I was just like, no, I don't believe it. And in the way that I want, do I believe I can be successful and happy in an easeful, effortless way? I'm just like, I don't believe that. I believe it's always gonna be this grind. That's where my current belief system was. And so, yeah, you based on the awareness of what you want, you explore honestly what the beliefs are, understanding that the job is also to create safety around where you're going, to create safety. Let's say, for example, if you grew up in a middle-class family where there is struggle, where there is an honor, a humility, a nobility around getting by, and everyone in your family kind of connects on this relatable shared struggle. And then all of a sudden, there you are, just getting it easy, having lots of money, making money easily, having a good time, not struggling. On a tribal level in your body, it's likely that that's going to feel quite unsafe. In Australia, the culture there's a strong culture of tall poppy syndrome, which is, don't be too good. Don't be too confident, or else you're going to get cut down. You're going to be cocky, arrogant, you'll be a wanker. You're going to be full of yourself. And no one's going to want to do anything with you. No one's going to like that type of person. The culture in the States around success and chasing the dream is different. Yet when it comes to what we want, if you don't feel safe to have it, if you grew up and your parents said that money sucks and that money's the root of all evil, all this type of stuff, and then there you are with a great relationship with money, loving money, liking money, getting along with it, you're going to have to meet shadows. You're going to have to meet parts of yourself that don't feel safe in that way of being, in those beliefs and identities. So there's the element of release, and then there's also the element of, or the step of release, the step of creating safety around the person that you're becoming. And that's a huge piece.
I really love the second part that you said, because sometimes we can just, like you said, acknowledge what we want, start releasing it, start doing the work, but sometimes we don't, even with the new beliefs or with the new awareness, one part of us, if it doesn't feel safe, there will always kind of a contraction. And when that happens is when we're not going all in, or when we go all in and we self-sabotage ourselves because we're betraying one part of the tribe, we're betraying one part of the family, right? So there's so many components. Before we wrap up our podcast, and I'm just like so grateful for you, Andrew. This has been one of the most powerful ones, I will say. Like,
Awesome.
people need to go back and just re-listen this thing again and take notes, because right here, it could be your turning point. Like, it this is just mind blowing. If you can let us know, what are the ways that if someone is like, hey, damn, this is the thing that I've been missing, I want to know more, what is the first step? And I'm going to make sure that we want to put this in the YouTube and also on the platforms. But what is the first step? We contact you, we go to your website, we go to the Instagram. What is the first step just to explore what it will be the best for that client?
Yeah, the website's a great place to go because it's got a bunch of free resources, um, both video and written, and then just audio as well, my Telegram channel. And it also has links to my email, to my Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and everything like that. So it's a bit of a hub that
Got it.
just is a good place to go. There's some free downloads and stuff like that. So the website's the way to go.
Okay, perfect. If someone has a question, let's say for someone that has she or he is visiting your website and it's just like, I want to work with him one-on-one. There's ways that you still do that, or it's just the group settings?
There's an application process for some one-to-one coaching, or you can just message me on Instagram and Facebook. So yeah, there's a combination of the group coaching that I do and still one-to-ones as well.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much, Andrew. And by the way, this is like a tradition now. I've always asked my guest, and by this time I know your gift. But what is your superpower, Andrew?
What's my superpower in life, in the coaching world, or
I'm in coaching, and just what is your superpower?
I think my superpower is my ability to see things and understand things, and then yeah, break them down in a simple way, like articulate them. Like you're saying, you're like the way I explain things, I get that feedback a lot. So I'd say that's definitely a superpower of mine, is the ability to articulate the complex in simple, understandable terms.
Yeah, I'm so agreed. And I would love to add something if you allow me. You also have this beautiful blend where I don't feel like I'm criticized. I don't feel like you're coming from a judgment thing. I think you're the way that you explain things, like I said, so digestible, so easy. You don't use complicated things, but you also have this thing that is just like, hey, this is what we have, and you're so direct. I really love that. You're not like everything is just right, just relax. No, you go direct to the point. And I do believe that every single one of us, we really appreciate someone, a guide, a mentor, a teacher, because when we have someone that is coming from that place, we get to actually close the gap. We actually get to advance to where we want to go. So that is so beautiful. Thank you so much, Andrew.
Awesome. Yeah, I totally agree. And thank you for having me on today.
Awesome. So we'll see you in the next week.